ex-con Angelo Bedami, 72, waited a long time to reveal the alleged truth about his mobster father. In an interview with the Tampa Bay Times, he weaves a story that usually only happens in the movies. He says his father, Joe Bedami Sr., did not actually die in 1968 as was widely believed by the FBI and local law enforcement. Rather, says Angelo, Dad made his way to Italy and lived quietly there as Joe Salsa. "I can't believe I'm talking about this," he told reporter Paul Guzzo. "This is a great story." At the time Dad fled the U.S., he had recently torched a department store as part of an insurance scam and was being investigated for a 1959 murder. He was tied to several other killings, though nothing could be proven. Son Angelo grew up into the family crime business, eventually smuggling large quantities of drugs into Florida from Colombia in the early 1980s. As law enforcement were closing in on his operation, he took off in late 1982 to Sicily, where he claims he was reunited with Dad. Angelo says a cousin picked him up in Palermo and drove him to the small town of Alessandria della Rocca, where Dad was living in a two-bedroom house. "He was waiting outside," Angelo claimed. "And he gave me a big bear hug." Angelo says he spent 6 months in Sicily with Dad. During that time, Angelo was indicted in the U.S. by a grand jury for drug smuggling. Upon returning to the U.S., he would eventually be sentenced to 5 years for his crimes and serve 3. The Tampa Bay Times was unable to independently verify Angelo's claim. According to The Sun, Dad lived until 1990. However, Ken Larson, a former undercover detective for the Tampa Bay police who investigated the Bedami family, told the paper he believes Angelo's claim. He says Dad likely spent some time in Costa Rica first, before making his way to Europe. The Bedami family has gotten away with major crimes, including murder, Larson bemoaned. They didn't get punished by law enforcement. The post-Florida mobster's son finally comes clean. Dad fled to Italy and lived under a different name, appeared first on news.